are the Study Hub 1.
Good day everyone, especially to you Coach Jude. I am Rosemary Tapar from Study Hub 1, and for today's discussion, we are going to talk about learner-centered pedagogy. So before we formally start with our discussion, allow me first to introduce my Study Hub members and their respective topics. So for the first topic, which is the delivery modalities, will be discussed by yours truly. For the next topic, which is the structures for facilitating learner-centered teaching, it will be discussed by Mr. Marlon Sanoria. For the third topic, which is the methods and strategies, will be discussed by Ms. Demi Jane Igbos and Ms. Cherish Faith Bantongan. And for the topics flexible learning and teaching, differentiated learning and education in emergencies, this will be discussed by Mr. Roger Pulan. Let us now proceed to the learning outcomes. So, for the learning outcomes, after studying the module, you are expected to, number 1, discuss the nature of learner-centered teaching modalities, structures, methods, and strategies that facilitate differentiated teaching to suit learners' gender, needs, strengths, interests, and experiences. Number 2, select appropriate learner-centered teaching modalities, structures, methods, and strategies based on learners' diverse needs, learning styles, and backgrounds. Number 3, draw an appropriate learner-centered teaching modalities and strategies that address the special educational needs of learners in difficult circumstances. And let us now proceed to the discussion proper. So, what do we mean when we say learner-centered pedagogy? So, when you hear the word learner-centered pedagogy, what comes into your mind? Learner-centered pedagogy views learners as active participants in their own learning, with their own education shaped by their interests, prior knowledge, and active investigation. In the learner-centered class, the responsibility for learning is placed on student and is more cooperative rather than solely based on the instruction from the teacher. And now, let's talk about the different delivery modalities. Delivery modalities refers to the various methods and formats through which instruction and learning materials are delivered to learners. In the context of education, delivery modalities play a crucial role in facilitating effective teaching and learning experiences. So the following are the modalities in teaching students. First modality is the face-to-face learning. So face-to-face learning is where instruction takes place in a physical classroom setting with direct interaction between teachers and the learners. So this modality allows for in-person communication, immediate feedback, and real-time discussions, fostering a dynamic and engaging learning environment. It is the most traditional type of learning instruction, and there is opportunity for active engagement, immediate feedback, and socio-emotional development of the learners. Next modality, we have blended learning. So blended learning is a delivery modality that combines both face-to-face instruction and the online learning components. So, blended learning integrates traditional classroom teaching with digital technologies and online resources, offering a hybrid approach to education. So, the following that I am going to discuss are some examples of blended learning. First is the station rotation blended learning. So when we say station rotation blended learning, it is a specific model of blended learning that involves dividing the learners into small groups and rotating them through different stations or learning activities So in this model, one station typically involves face-to-face instruction with the teacher, while other involve all online or independent learning activities. Next is remote blended learning or enriched virtual remote blended learning. It is also known as enriched virtual learning of education because it combines both online and face-to-face instruction with a significant portion of the learning taking place remotely. So in this model, learners engage in online learning activities for a sustainable part of their instruction while also participating in scheduled face-to-face sessions for hands-on experiences, collaborations, and direct interaction with teachers and peers. Next is the flipped classroom blended learning. Flipped classroom is a specific model of blended learning that involves flipping the traditional approach to instruction. In a flipped classroom, the learners engage with instructional content such as recorded lectures, multimedia materials, outside of the classrooms, and typically through online platforms. So, face-to-face classroom time is then dedicated to interactive activities, discussion, and the application of the knowledge. Last but definitely not the least example of blended learning is the mastery-based learning. Mastery-based blended learning is an approach that combines the principles of blended learning with a focus on mastery of contents and skills. In this model, learners progress through the curriculum at their own pace, demonstrating mastery before moving on to the next concept or skill. Next delivery modalities is technology-based online e-learning. Technology-based online learning, also known as e-learning, refers to the use of technology tools, resources, and platforms to deliver educational content and facilitate learning and experiences. So this encompasses a wide range of learning modalities and technologies that support remote and flexible learning. And the last delivery modalities that I will be going to discuss is the distance learning. So, distance learning offers flexibility in terms of time and location. Learners can access educational materials and participate in learning activities from anywhere, as long as they have a good internet connection. So, this accessibility allows for learning opportunities for individuals who may face barriers to traditional in-person education. So, in summary, all of these delivery modalities that I have discussed helps the students shape their knowledge and abilities in terms of learning by addressing or by recognizing the hindrances that students may face in terms of natural calamity comes. So these delivery modalities gives benefits to both the learners and the educators because this fosters a sense of belonging and a sense of togetherness.
That's all for my part, and now let's proceed to the next discussion, which is Mr. Sonoria.
So thank you for that, Mr. Par. So I am Marlon Sonoria, the student number 2 of Study Hub 1. So now before I'll proceed to my main topic, let's have a short recap about what Mr. Par being said. According to Mr. Par, delivery modalities help the student shape their knowledge and abilities in terms of learning by addressing or by recognizing the hindrance that a student may face in terms when natural calamities comes. These delivery modalities gives benefits to both the learners and the educators because this fosters a sense of belonging and sense of togetherness. So now let's proceed to my main topic, which is be structure of facilitating learner-centered teaching. It is supporting tools to help reservists and practicing teachers understand the fundamental pedagogical principles, processes, and practices that are anchored on learner-centeredness and educational psychologists as they apply to facilitate the delivery of teaching and learning in the current educational milieu. So there are three types of structure of facilitating learner-centered teaching, which includes formal or traditional, alternative learning styles or ALS, and lastly the alternative delivery mode. So let's discuss first the number one, formal and traditional. Teacher control the learning environment, holding power and responsibility as instructor and decision maker. Teacher directed approaches encourage setting and listening, focusing on curriculum and outcomes. For instance, attending school or university where students follow a set curricular, attending classes, complete assignment, and take exam to demonstrate their understanding of materials is the type form of formal education. Number two, alternative learning system or ALS. The alternative learning system of of number 11510 offers a flexible program for working and disadvantaged adults to the complete primary and secondary education, allowing learner to takes place anytime, anywhere. Alternative learning styles are crucial for catering to the diverse student needs, enhancing engagement, maximizing comprehension, promoting inclusivity, and developing lifelong learner skills by acknowledging and accommodating different learning preferences also ensures equitable access of education, foster and inclusive and supportive learning environment for all students. So there are three subtopics, which is non-formal education, professional education, and the mobile teachers. So let's discuss first what is non-formal education refers to education that occurs outside the formal school system. It is often used interchangeably with terms such as community education, adult education, lifelong education, and second chance education. It is an integral part of lifelong learning concept that ensures the young people and adults to acquire and maintain skills, abilities, disposition that need to adapt continuously changing environment.
Letter B. Informal education.
Does not the structure and level that formal schools have. It is more natural and spontaneous, meaning the information that once learned through form of education comes from learning from experiences. Formal education can teach you about fire and physics and more advanced classes, thermodynamic, but informal education is when you see person burning their hands when they touch the pot handle without pot holder, and you learn that heat from the stove is transferred to the pot handle, so you should be careful when you handle your cooking ware. So number three, the mobile teacher are specialized or the teacher who live among the people in remote barangay of the country and conduct the BLP or literate out of school. You as a teacher, you should teach the literacy skills for those who left formal education or have no access of school. They're called mobile teacher because they go to from one place to another where they are needed. So number three, alternative delivery modes. It refers to non-traditional education program recognized by the Department of Education or DepEd, which applies a flexible learning philosophy and curricular delivery program that includes non-formal and informal sources of knowledge and skill. These are tried and tested alternative modalities of education delivered within the confines of the formal system that allows schools to deliver equal education, marginal student, and those that risk dropping out in order to help to overcome personal, social, and economic constraint of schooling. A is modified in school, off-school approaches or mimosa is an alternative delivery mode of education meant to address the problem of congestion, overcrowding due to classroom and teacher shortage, resulting in big class size, less contact with time, pupils, absenteeism, and inefficient learning materials. Classes under mimosa are divided into two groups, in school group and off school group, where in school group learns in typical in classroom setup, while off school group in given a flexible learning to do an activities and independently with learning facilitators. In school group will exchange with and experience the learning intervention to those in off school group, and vice versa. Moreover, both groups will report to school at the same time for enrichment and assessment for learning. Letter D, enhancement instructional management by parents, community, and teachers, or impact. It is a learning system in the Philippines that was designed in 2010 by the Southeast Asian Minister of Education Organization, or CMEO. Inotech through the impact, CMEO wants to solve problems in the Philippines public school system, such as lack of classroom teachers, textbook, high dropout rate, and low budget of allocated for education. This technology enhanced alternative delivery mode of learning consists and peer-led approach is a main process that allows pupils to learn, interact, which develop their full potential. Every pupil has access to module and instructional materials to guide him in his education. So parents and the members of the community become actively engaged in sustaining the system and making it work. Their support is crucial in ensuring the learning process continues in their homes. Thus, the processes of learning with the child, a whole community is transformed. So letter C, Open High School Program or OHSP. It is an alternative mode of formal secondary education program run by the Bureau of Secondary Education or BSE of the Department of Education or DepEd of the Republic of the Philippines. The program provides the opportunities for elementary school graduates, high school dropouts, and successful examinees by the PEPT or Philippine Educational Placement Test to complete secondary education in purely distance learning mode. The program provides printed self-learning modules for students to use their lessons and classroom activities. It is intended for students who would otherwise be unable to pursue formal secondary education due to rigid requirements of regular classes students. It also caters learners who are unable to attend the regular class program due to physical impairment, work, financial difficulties, distance of home to school, and other justifiable and legitimate reasons.
So, in summary, formal, traditional teachers control the learning environment, holding power and responsibility as instructor and decision makers, while the Alternative Learning System Act, Republic Act Number 11510 offers a flexible program for working and disadvantaged adults to complete primary and secondary education, allowing learning to take place anytime or anywhere. And lastly, the alternative delivery mode refers to the non-traditional education program recognized by the DepEd or Department of Education, which applies a flexible learning philosophy and a curricular delivery program that includes non-formal and informal sources of knowledge and skills. So now, let's proceed to the next discussion, which is Music Boss, and she will be discussing the methods and strategies of learner-centered teaching. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I am Demi Jane Igbus, student number 3 from Study Hub number 1. So the topic that me and Miss Bantangan is going to discuss today is about the methods and strategies. There are several time-tested methods and strategies that learning-centered teachers can utilize in the classroom. Teachers can employ a variety of methods or strategies appropriate to the learning styles of students and carry out the objectives of the lesson to be taught. First is methods. There are 3 aspects of methods, which are the active learning activities, cooperative learning activities, and last, inquiry and inductive learning activities. So first, let's talk about the active learning activities. So active learning activities is any learning activity in which the student participates or interacts with the learning process, as opposed to passively taking in the information. When given the opportunity to actively engage with the information, the learning students perform better. Like for examples, active learning techniques include role-playing, case studies, group projects, think, pair, share, debates, just-in-time teaching, and short demonstrations followed by class discussion. Second is cooperative learning activities. So cooperative learning activities is a generic term for various small group interactive instructional procedures. Students work together on academic tasks in small groups to help themselves and their teammates learn together. Examples of cooperative learning activities are pair or group discussions, role play, jigsaw, think, pair, share, write, pair, share, and fishbowl debate. And last is the inquiry and inductive learning activities. So inductive learning is a powerful strategy for helping students deepen their understanding of content and develop their influence and evidence gathering skills. Examples of inquiry activities are case studies, group projects, research projects, field work, especially in science lessons, unique exercises tailored for the students. So let's move on to our next topic, which is the learner-centered instructional strategies. So there are 26 learner-centered instructional strategies, and I will be discussing the 12 strategies, while Ms. Bantangan will discuss the rest of it. So learner-centered instructional strategies is cooperative learning. So this learning is a successful teaching strategy in which small teams, each with students of different levels of ability, use a variety of learning activities to improve their understanding of a subject. Each member of a team is responsible for learning what is taught, but also for helping teammates learn, thus creating an atmosphere of achievement. Cooperative learning teaching strategies use effective grouping to enhancing learning. Two common strategies of this type are the jigsaw method and the think, pair, share method. The jigsaw method is an example which gives each student a task necessary for the group's success, and the think, pair, share method is another one which requires students to think about a problem independently, then discuss it with the group, then share their group's thoughts with the class. Next is the presentations. The instructional strategy of using student presentations as a way to present content to the class as a whole can be fun and engaging method. For example, the teacher hands out topics to students or group and have them present information on each topic as a short presentation. This is not only help students learn the material deeper, but also provide them with practice in public speaking. A student presentation can be a fun and engaging method of presenting content. Here are a few tips to make the experience even more engaging. First is, give students enough time to prepare and rehearse. Second, allow students to collaborate on the presentations, either in groups or individually. Third, provide constructive feedback and praise to encourage the student presenters. Fourth, engage students by asking questions, providing opportunities for audience participation, and making the presentation interactive. The third one is panels. In a panel discussion, a selected group of students act as a panel and the remaining class members act as the audience. A panel leader is chosen and he or she summarizes the panel discussion and opens discussion to the audience. The fourth one is KWL or KWH-LAQ. Is an instructional reading strategy that is used to guide students through a text. Students begin by brainstorming everything they know about a topic. This information is recorded in the K column of a KWL chart OGUL 1986. KWA charts are graphic organizers that help students organize information before or during and after a unit or a lesson. They can be used to engage students in a new topic, activate prior knowledge, share unit objectives, and monitor students' learning. KWL charts have been a mainstay of most classrooms for many years. Students are often asked what they know, what they want to know, and then later on what they have learned. Using the chart with your students can provide teachers with the opportunity to pre-assess and learn more about their students' thinking during the process of learning, giving ample opportunities to differentiate for individual students, use data from the chart to inform further teaching or revise previously create the lesson or unit plans. In KWHLAQ, the K stands for what do I know, and W stands for what do I want to know, and H stands for how do I found out, L stands for what have I learned, A stands for what action will I take and why, and lastly, Q stands for what questions do I have. So fifth is brainstorming. Is a large or small group activity that encourages students to focus on a topic and contribute to the free flow of ideas. So there are some kinds of brainstormings. The teacher may begin a brainstorming session by posing a question or a problem or by introducing a topic. Students then express possible answers and relevant ideas. Next, contributions are accepted without criticism or judgment and usually summarized on a whiteboard by the teacher or a scribe as the ideas are called out. Last, these ideas are then examined usually in an open class discussion format. This topic is learner-created media. According to Yowell and Rotten 2009, it involves a high degree of engagement, promotes individual learning, social interaction, and immersion, and is highly customizable and collaborative. It provides an alternative or a complement to traditional undergraduate student research. It includes different media types such as podcast, digital story, screencast, animation, and video, which adds an extra layer of complexity to a highly atomized field of research. Seventh is discussion. A variety of forums for open-ended collaborative exchange of ideas among a teacher and student or among students for the purpose of furthering student thinking, learning, problem solving, understanding, or literary appreciation. The participants present multiple points of view, respond to the ideas of others, and reflect on their own ideas in an effort to build their knowledge, understanding, or interpretation of the matter at hand. The following are advantages of discussions according to Casinto 2009. First is, in a discussion class, the students are actively involved in processing information and ideas. Second, since student-initiated questions are more common in discussion classes, their needs and interests are dealt with more readily and spontaneously than in other methods. Third, because students play a more active role in discussion, student diversity of backgrounds can be exploited in the generation of ideas, approaches, and examples. Fourth, students receive practice in formulating questions and communicating their ideas. Last is, discussion can be used to examine student attitudes. If there is an advantages, there is also a disadvantages. So these are the disadvantages of discussion. First, the discussion method is the least effective method for conveying factual information. Second, discussion can be very time-consuming and unfocused unless the instructor makes an effort to direct the flow. Third, because an instructor is often had difficulty in getting the students involved at first, the temptation to slip into a review session or mini lecture is great. And last, class size must be restricted. So the eighth one is small group. Allows presenters to announce a topic or idea for group discussion among participants. A small group discussion follows democratic guidelines and allows everyone to contribute many ideas for others to discuss and reflect upon. According to Brewer 1997, discussion allows for an interchange of ideas within the context of a group under the direction of a presenter. This method is generally used as a part of a larger course rather than as the only teaching method. In these situations, students work in pairs or small groups on problem of application and analysis. The instructor prepares a description of the task beforehand and in class divides the large group into smaller work groups of 2 to 7 students. These students work together to complete the task as assigned. And according to Casinto 2009, the instructor then reconvinces the large group and has the groups compare their solutions. The next is case studies. Often involves simply observing what happens to or reconstructing the case history of a single participant of group of individuals. In this method, a situation is drawn from real life and is followed by step to illustrate a general principle or problem-solving strategy. Case studies are more useful when students are learning a process of information analysis or asking questions. They are particularly beneficial if the students can go through several cases sequentially, during which the instructor begins by directing the process and gradually shifts to allowing the students to direct the process. According to that is Casinto 2009. The next is jigsaw. It's a method of organizing classroom activity that makes students dependent on each other to succeed. It breaks classes into groups and breaks assignment to complete. The jigsaw puzzle, it is a cooperative learning strategy that enables each student of a home group to specialize in one aspect of a topic. For example, one group studies habitats of rainforest animals, another group studies predators and rainforest animals. Students meet members from other groups who are assigned the same aspect and after mastering the material, return to their home group and teach the material to their group members. With this strategy, each student in home group serves as piece of the topic's puzzle, and when they work together as a whole, they create the complete jigsaw puzzle. Next is learning centers. It's an exploratory and interactive learning strategy where students rotate in groups to different activities that reinforce and extend classroom learning. As students rotate to designated areas around the classroom, they demonstrate their understanding of topic and practice skills through tasks that integrate various learning styles. To implement this strategy, a teacher first determines a skill or content area to focus on and selects several activities related to the subject. The materials for each activity are placed in specific locations around the classroom, and students complete the activities in small groups, while the teacher provides support to individual students. And the next is experiments. It's a procedure carried out to support, reflect, or validate a hypothesis. Experiments provide insight into cause and effect by demonstrating what outcome occurs when a particular factor is manipulated. Experiments vary greatly in goal and scale but always rely on repeatable procedure and logical analysis of the results. So that's it for my part, and now Ms. Bantongan will explain to you furthermore about the rest of the strategies.
Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. I am Churchpate S. Bantongan from Study Hub 1. Today, I'm going to continue and expand the topic about methods and strategies, the role play, simulations, laboratory strategies, and etc. Role play. So, what is role play? So, role play is a technique that allows students to explore realistic situations by interacting with other people in a managed way in order to develop, experience, and try different strategies in supportive environment. It is an educational technique in which people spontaneously act out problems of human relations and analyze the enactment with the help of other players and observers. Role-playing is effective when the topic involves person-to-person communications or interactions. So the advantages of role play are allows everyone to participate, it develops self-esteem and confidence, and give them opportunity to show their creativity. Simulations. So, simulations are instructional scenarios where the learner is placed in a world defined by the teacher. They represent a reality within which students interact. The teacher controls the parameters of this world and uses it to achieve the desired instructional results. Students experience the reality of the scenario and gather meaning from it. So the advantage of simulations are it promotes the use of critical and evaluative thinking, promotes concept attainment through experiential practice, and helps students appreciate more deeply the management of the environment, politics, community, and culture. Laboratory strategies. Laboratory strategies are wonderful settings for teaching and learning science. They provide students with opportunity to think about, discuss, and solve real problems. So it develops the intuitions and depends understanding of concepts, apply concept learned in class to new situations, experience basic phenomena, develop critical thinking. Workshop. So workshop is one of the methods and strategies. So workshop is a teaching structure that pushes students to be creative and responsible in their own learning. The workshop model asks students to take charge of their own learning, becoming active and engaged in their work and development of understanding. Demonstrations is a teaching method used to communicate an idea with the aid of visuals such as flip charts, posters, PowerPoints, etc. It is also a process of teaching someone how to make or do something in a step-by-step process. A demonstration always has a finished product. Good demonstration is for the audience to be able to go home and do what you have taught them how to do. Inquiry-based strategies is an approach to learning that emphasizes the student's role in the learning process rather than the teacher telling students what they need to know. Students are encouraged to explore the material, ask questions, and share ideas. There are 4 phases of inquiry-based strategies. It needs interaction, clarification, questioning, and design. From a teacher point of view, inquiry-based learning focuses on moving students beyond general curiosity into the critical thinking and understanding. So there are 7 benefits of inquiry-based learning, and these are reinforces curriculum content, warms up the brain for learning, promotes a deeper understanding to content, helps makes learning rewarding, builds initiative and self-direction, works in almost any classroom, and lastly, offers differentiated instruction. Mental models. So mental models are any organized pattern of a visual representation consisting of both instructional and process, a flow chart of sorts that helps a student comprehend content, knowledge, and or solve problems relative to the principle being taught. Mental models help you understand life. Example, supply and demand is a mental model that helps you understand how the economy works. Project-based learning. So project-based learning is a teaching method in which students gain knowledge and skills by working for an extended period of time to investigate and respond to authentic, engaging, and complex question, problem, or challenge. A dynamic classroom approach in which students actively explore real-world problems and challenges and acquire a deeper knowledge. Problem-based learning is a teaching method in which complex real-world problems are used as the vehicle to promote student learning concept and principle as opposed to direct presentations of facts and concept. According to Dutch et al. 2001, it can promote the development of critical thinking skills, problem-solving abilities, and communication skills. It can also provide opportunity for working in groups finding and evaluating research materials, and lifelong learning. Discovery learning. It was introduced by Jerome Bruner and is a method of inquiry-based instruction. This popular theory encouraged learners to build on past experiences and knowledge, use their intuition, imagination, and creativity. It is used in the classroom during problem-solving exercise and educational programs. So, the advantage of it is encourage motivations, active involvement, and creativity. It can be adjusted to the learner pace. It promotes autonomy and independence. It ensures higher level of retention. Social media. So social media are tools that allow for social interaction and easy creation of content by users. It can be effective tool for teaching and learning in higher education. It can help connect students to information and help them generate a dialogue with their teacher and other students about a course. It's very helpful to the learners. It can help them to get more information through social media. By that, they gain knowledge and they can share it to the class. Games or gamification. Gamification is a turning the learner's process as a whole into a game, while games-based learning or BGL is using a game as part of the learning process. It turns the entire learning process into a game. It takes game mechanics and gameplay elements and applies them to existing learning courses and content in order to better motivate and engage learners. Example of these mechanics include achievement badge, points leaderboards, progress bars, and level. In gaming inside the classroom, the learner are actively participate. They are not just gaining knowledge but also they can gain experiences. Competitions. So competitions are great tools in preparing students for their career preferences later in life. These methods can be teach a child certain attributes and traits that can help him or her later in life. It allows students to extend themselves to exploit their real capabilities and maximize their true potential. It is most productive when it occurs among students of similar abilities. So lastly, debate. Debate involves students in expressing their opinions from two competing perspectives with the goal of contradicting each other's argument. Engaging students in discussion and debate encourages students to create their own understanding to the content and connect it to their experiences. So that's all for methods and strategies. Methods and strategies, these are the several time-tested methods and strategies that learning-centered teachers can utilize in the classroom to ensure that all learners can actively participate in the classroom in different strategies that may teacher can use. So Mr. Pula Drujimark will explain about flexible learning and teaching.
Thank you, Mr. Spade Bantongan. I am Rojumar Pulad. And now let us move to my first topic, which is flexible learning and teaching. Flexible learning empowers students to personalize their learning experience. They have more control over how, what, when, and where they learn. The benefits of the flexible learning and teaching are accessibility. Education becomes accessible to a wider range of learners regardless of locations, schedule, or learning styles. Next is engagement. Students are more likely to engage when they can learn in a way that suits their preference. Self-paced learning. Students can progress at their own pace, mastering concepts before moving on. Lifelong learning. Flexible learning fosters skills and habits that support lifelong learning. Component of a flexible learning and teaching environment. First is physical space. Classroom can be designed to facilitate collaboration, independent work, and access to technology. Groupings. Students can work individually, in a small group, or in a larger team depending on the learning activity. Next is time management. Flexible learning and teaching encourage students to develop time management skills to manage their learning schedule effectively. Delivering method of a flexible learning and teaching. First is the face-to-face interaction. Traditional classroom setting remains valuable for teacher and student interaction and social learning. Next is the online learning. Websites, interactive content, chat rooms, and discussion boards facilitate online learning and asynchronous communication. Next is synchronous learning. Teleconferencing or video conferencing allows for real-time interaction between student and teacher in remote location. Next is print resources. Textbooks, articles, and worksheets remain valuable tools for independent learning. Experience learning. Field trips, hands-on activities, and multimedia resources offer practical and engaging learning experiences. Traditional classroom often follows a rigid structure, prioritizing predetermined activities and schedules. However, flexible learning breaks free from these constraints. It embraces curiosity as the driving force, allowing lessons to unfold organically. Discussion and ideas take center stage, explore in depth as they naturally arise. This flexible isn't about chaos, it's about creating a dynamic environment where students can delve deeper into topics that spark their interest, while traditional classrooms offer a blend of synchronous as asynchronous activities. Flexible learning and teaching allows for a more fluid approach. Discussion can seamlessly extend beyond class time, and the independent exploration through asynchronous work can inform in-class pursuit. This adaptability fosters a love of learning that goes beyond rote memorization, empowering students to become active participants in their own educational journey. Overall, the goal of flexible learning and teaching is to make education accessible and adaptable so that it meets the needs of all types of learning. By giving students more control over their own educational experience through various mediums such as audio, tapes, print resources, field trips, and many more, we can help them achieve success on their own terms. My next topic is about differentiated learning. The differentiated learning embraces this very concept. It's a framework that acknowledges diverse needs and strengths within a classroom. This philosophy goes beyond simply providing different difficulties levels. It offers a range of options for students to acquire content. This could involve varied resources like lectures, videos, or hands-on activity to cater to different learning styles. Process information. Students might benefit from graphic organizer, group discussion, or individual reflection exercises to solidify understanding. Demonstrate knowledge. Assessments can be tailored to allow students to showcase their learning thought, project presentation, essay, or creative expression. Differentiated learning means design lessons based on student learning style. By designing lessons based on these various learning styles, teacher can help ensure that all of their students are able to engage with and comprehend the material being taught. Group students by shared interest, topic, or ability for assignment. In order to complete a school assignment, students can be grouped together based on things they have in common. By grouping students together with similar characteristics, it can make the assignment more enjoyable and easier to complete since everyone is working toward a common goal. Assess student learning using formative assessment. Formative assessment helps both teachers and students because it allows for adjustment to be made before it's too late. Manage their classroom to create safe and supportive environment. One way of doing this is by setting clear rules and expectations for behavior in the classroom. The teacher can also use positive reinforcement such as praise or reward to encourage good behavior. And another important aspect of creating a safe and supportive environment is making sure that all students feel included and valued. Tomlinson suggests that teachers can customize their teaching method to better meet the needs of individual students. This process is called differentiation and can be done in 4 ways. Number 1 is content. This refers to what is being taught or learned. Number 2 is process. This involves how content is being taught. Number 3 is product. This relates to how students demonstrate their own understanding of the content. Lastly is learning environment. This includes factors such as classroom setup, group work, and teacher-student interaction. Example of deeper instruction. Creates learning station. In order to make learning more engaging and interactive, teacher can create a learning station in their classroom. It means dividing the classroom into different sections where groups of students can rotate through. Each section should have a unique activity or way of teaching related to the lesson being taught. Target different senses within lesson. This means using a variety of methods like showing videos, giving written and spoken instruction, using charts and illustration, getting students to act out sense or use physical objects like money for math problems. By doing this, more students are likely to understand the lesson because it appeals to different learning such as visual, tactile, auditory, and kinesthetic. Use think, pair, share strategy. This think, pair, share strategy is a method used in a classroom to help students learn. It involves 3 steps: thinking, pairing, and sharing. First, each student think about a topic or a question on their own. Then they pair up with another student and share their ideas with each other. Make time for journaling. Journaling is a way for students to write down their thoughts and reflection of what they have learned in class. By taking time to journal, students can better understand new information and activities that they have participated in. It helps them process this new knowledge by putting it into their own words and connecting with the personal experience. Differentiated learning is a teaching approach that acknowledges and embraces the diverse learning needs, abilities of students. The last topic is about education in emergency. It is a special type of education that helps protect children who are affected by conflict or natural disaster. This type of education is very important because it can save lives and make sure that the children still access to learning even difficult times. Education in emergencies not only provides opportunities for learning but also takes care of well-being and development of those affected by conflicts and disaster. In short, this kind of education is essential as it ensures that people's right to learn is preserved, their health protected, and their overall growth nurtured despite of any crisis they may be facing. Foundational standards, which are important for community participation in education. It lists different areas that these standards cover like coordination and analysis, assessment, monitoring, and evaluation. The teaching learning domain refers to a set of standards that are designed to help teacher and student achieve their success in the classroom. This might involve using tests or any form of evaluation to determine whether students have met certain benchmark or achieved certain goals. Curricula. It says that the curricula which are essential, the subject and topics taught in schools or other education settings should be relevant to the culture, society, and language of the learner. Training professional development support. It means that these individuals are provided with opportunities to learn new things or improve their skills on a regular basis. The training they receive is tailored to their specific need and the circumstances they face in their job. Instruction and learning process refers to the method used to teach and learn new information or skills. In this context, these processes are described being learner-centered, meaning they are prioritize the needs and interests of the person doing the learning. Assessment and the learning outcomes. They use different ways of checking or assessing the student progress and understanding. This assessment helps the teacher know if they need to adjust their teaching method or provide extra help to certain students who may be struggling.
So overall summary of the topic, learner-centered pedagogy is an educational approach that prioritizes the needs, interests, and abilities of students, placing them as a center of learning process. It emphasizes active participation, critical thinking, and self-directed learning to foster deeper understanding and retention of knowledge. Delivery modalities also encompasses a range of methods for imparting information and facilitating learning experiences, including traditional classroom instruction, online platform, blended learning models, and experimental learning opportunities. The structures of facilitating learner-centered teaching involves creating an environment where students are feel empowered and explore topics, collaborate with peers, and take ownership of their learning journey. This often involves flexible schedules, open-ended assignments, and personalized feedback mechanism. The method also and strategies employed in learner-centered pedagogy, including inquiry-based learning, project-based learning, cooperative learning, and peer teaching. These approaches encourage active engagement, problem solving, and real-world application of knowledge. So, flexible learning and teaching accommodates diverse learning style, preference, and circumstances, allowing students to learn at their own pace, and the time. This may involve providing alternative assessment methods and asynchronous learning opportunities and accessible resources. Differentiated learning also acknowledges the students have varying abilities, interests, and backgrounds, requiring tailored instruction and support to meet their individual needs. This involves adapting content, instruction, and assessment to accommodate diverse learning effectively. Education in emergencies address the unique challenges of providing quality education during crises such as natural disasters, conflicts, or pandemics. It focuses on ensuring continuity of learning through innovative approaches, community involvement, and psychosocial support for students and educators amidst challenging circumstances.
Thank you for watching!